How's it going, guys? I am Matthias and welcome to Reading Your Comments. Today I'm reading all your awkward stories involving you and your parents. Before we begin, I wanted to say the question of the day for a future episode is, what's an awkward story with you and your best friend? Now remember to stay to the very end to hear my most awkward story with my parents. A few years ago, I was walking into a room and I heard my parents talking about whether or not to tell me I was adopted. To this day, I don't know if my parents saw me, and so I never talked about it. What? So you know you're adopted, but they don't know that you're adopted. I was 15 and I had to get pads at the grocery store with my dad. I was too embarrassed to be around him in the feminine aisle, and so I went a few aisles over. In a few minutes, my dad yelled out my name asking what brands of pads I use. Me and my friend had a bet that the person who can parkour up to the house roof wins and be their personal slave. My parents overheard that and thought our parkour was something else and started lecturing me about love or something. And when I finally told them what parkour really was, they decided to lecture me on how I should be more girly. Oh, boo. Be yourself, man. If you like parkouring, parkour. I was talking with my friends one time and I showed them my new watch. I said, this watch is so sick. Then my dad walked in saying, what's sick? Are you sick? Because watches can't be sick. I will never say that word again in that context. Some years ago, when my father asked me what I wanted to have when I grew up, I said that I wanted an iguana, but I spoke so fast they understood, when I grow up, I want to take marijuana. My mother read my diary and that had some very personal stuff. Then she made me talk about everything in the diary. Ooh. I remember watching PewDiePie, and as I was watching, my mom walked in behind me and asked what I wanted for dinner. I had to pause and it was full zoomed on his crotch and my mom just looked really done. Oh, pewds. I asked what puberty was. So my parents and I were watching a movie and a sex scene came on, and I was playing on my iPad and beat a level that took forever. It was at the start of it when I finished and I yelled, yes! Just a sex scene comes on, you're like, yeah! I was like 6 years old and I saw my parents making out. After my mom came in the kitchen, which is where I was, I kissed my mom, and being the curious 6-year-old, I tried to make out with my mom. So yeah, that happened. Oh, so done. Can't even. When you watch a movie with your parents and there's an unexpected sex scene. I was watching a movie with my mom and they showed nudes. I pretended I was asleep so I was not embarrassed. I had to call my parents because I was stuck in a baby swing at the age of 12, and that's not the worst part. They couldn't get me out, so our friends called the fire department to get me out. This was 2 years ago. Oh, Liam. Long story short, I walked in on my parents' room while they were doing it. I experienced the talk in less than a minute. Sad life. I was watching a Shane Dawson video with my parents in the room, and we all know how that goes. My mom is pretty chill and laughed it off, but my dad ended up putting parental lock on everything I own. I feel Amish. My most awkward moment was finding my parents' photos of them doing adult stuff. I am now traumatized. I had a birthday party recently and my mom was talking about how I was being born. Not when, not where, just how. Once me and my mom went for a walk. Suddenly I saw a really hot guy. My mother looked at this guy, then at me, and then back again. Then, for some reason, she went to him, tapped him on the shoulder, and when he turned, she pointed at me and said, hey, there's a hot girl over there. One day when I was 8, I was in my parents' bedroom, then they told me to go to the living room, and I was like, wah! But I did go anyways. Then 5 minutes later, out of curiosity, I tried to go in, but it was locked because the doorknob was a bit broken. I used the tip of the knife to use as a key. When successfully got in, I saw them both naked and probably doing the, reproduction. Then I was like, why were you so intent on getting in there? Every time a sex scene comes on during a movie, they stare me down as if I was enjoying it, and it's just the creepiest and most awkward thing ever. A couple years ago, I failed a test and I needed a signature from my mom. I was so scared that she would yell at me and called the teacher and said my mom's wrist broke and I couldn't sign the paper. I accidentally called my mom instead of the teacher. My dad and I were at the live event one time and the Circle of Life song came on because they were advertising the movie. It didn't come out yet. And he picked me up like I was Simba. I was on the Jumbotron and everyone stared at us. My mom was sleepwalking and she went into my room and I was going to the bathroom. She came and laid on my bed and went to sleep. I ended up sleeping on the floor that night. You're just like, what are you doing in my bed, Mom? Get out. And she's like, Whenever I'm watching YouTube and my mom walks into the room and thinks I'm talking to the person to the screen and they say, "Who's that? Do we know their parents?" And I try to explain the concept of YouTube to her, but she always forgets. Oh yeah, that's funny, Mark. Who's that? Who's that? Do you know him? Are you on a Skype call? What is this, FaceTime? I don't recognize him. I'm gonna call her mom. There was a new kid in my martial arts class and my mom thought we looked really cute together. She went on and on at dinner afterwards about this new kid and totally started shipping us. Since I needed pictures of me doing martial arts, she also took pictures of me doing this one partner technique with him that apparently made us look like we were dancing. The worst part is that I had a crush on him. This is with my best friend's parents. They are like family. I was invited to go trick-or-treating with my best friend. I wasn't feeling super good that day, but went anyways. I asked my best friend if we could go back to her house. I ran into the bathroom and clogged the toilet with explosive diarrhea. Her dad plunged it and he was looking at me with a concerned, disgusted look on his face the rest of the night. That's embarrassing. That is embarrassing. I was 18. Well, I still am. And I was going to my girlfriend's house for a night for the first time because Comic-Con was the next day and we were both going. While I was packing my things, my mom started talking to me about protection. It was so awkward, mainly because we had only been going out with each other for a month and had never even spoken about it. I went to kiss my mom goodbye and then accidentally kissed her on the lips. I was about 9. I was maybe 5 or 6 and used to jump from the bathroom counter, edge of the tub, and top of the toilet. One day my mom was running a bath and I came in and started jumping on things. I jumped on the toilet, the lid came off, I fell and got stuck. All I remember was my mom laughing as she went to go get my dad. Yeah, that happened. My most awkward moment was with my mom when I was showering. I'm big about privacy, but so she walks in like it's nothing and continues to search for something. I told her to get out. Do you know what her response was? "I gave birth to you. I know what every part of your body looks like." Worst and most awkward moment with my mom. True story. I like to read out loud to myself in my room. And one day, my dog was in my room with me and I was reading my book out loud. What I didn't know was my stepdad was listening outside my door and he thought I was making up a conversation with my dog. My most awkward moment was when I was on the way to school and my mom asked me if she knew how Kim Kardashian got famous and I said so. And then she said she got famous by a sex tape and continued to go on by telling what happened in it. There was this time when my mom came into my room, sat on my bed, and refused to leave. After 10 minutes of telling her to leave, she said, "You know what? You're punished." So I was like, "WTF, mom? You just came in here and intentionally punished me?" She said, "Yes." Ooh, your mom was just in a bad mood. My mom and I have a really good relationship, so nothing is ever awkward, but here's the story about my grandfather. It was breakfast time and we usually kept our cereal in clear containers. We also kept our dog food on another shelf in the same clear containers, so when my grandpa takes out the Cocoa Puffs, pours milk in the bowl, and then eats it, his face was so hilarious. He never ate dog food or Cocoa Puffs again. My most awkward moment with my parents was when I came out to them and my stepdad said he wanted to take away my phone and I got mad and shouted, "Why? I'm not gay for my phone." My mom said, "Yes, you are not." I just looked at her. "Yes, you are not?" What does that even mean? The only awkward moment with my parents I can think of was telling my mom I got my period. I was about 4 and walked in on my dad using the bathroom, then proceeded to run and scream asking my mom, "Why does daddy have a pickle?" When I was 4, I used my dad's toothbrush to brush my teeth and I didn't realize it was his toothbrush until I was done using it. I got so upset because I thought that if you swallowed someone else's spit that you're going to get pregnant. So I ran to my dad while he was in a meeting with his coworkers screaming, "You got me pregnant!" over and over again. I was a really stupid kid. Oh my gosh, that is so scary. Oh my gosh, I would die if I had a kid and they thought that and started screaming that. I'd be like, "What are you talking about? What are you talking about?" When I was 11, I found a bunch of condoms on my mom's dresser. Not knowing what they were for, I opened them and blew them up into balloons and gave them to the neighbor kids saying they were my mom's. The parents never let their kids come over again. When my mom walked in on me kissing my hand and I didn't realize. Then when she started to talk, I couldn't even look at her. Yes, I know I'm weird for kissing my hand. I don't even like people. You know, you gotta get practice somehow. I was with my friend and dad and we went to go see a movie. When the movie ended, my dad jumped up and was yelling, "No, it can't be over!" The movie was Avengers. It was so embarrassing. My most awkward moment was when I was at a restaurant with my parents and they were playing songs. My dad stood up and started dancing while my mom was singing. Everyone was looking at us and my brother and I were just like, we don't know these people. My most awkward moment with my parents was when I was at a family dinner and my grandma was trying to make small talk with my mom by asking, "What's your favorite book?" I can't remember what my mom said, but right after she finished, finished, I had to remark I was only 8. Mommy, I thought your favorite book was 50 Shades of Grey. Several years ago, my mom decided to set me up on a date with her friend's son. She bought us tickets to a sappy movie and everything. Turns out he was gay. Great guy though, we had an awesome time, but I still wanted to kill my mom for that initial awkwardness. So how'd your date go? Mom, you set me up with a gay guy. So, how'd it go? Yeah, I mean, we had an alright time. I told you you'd have fun. You don't get the point of dating, Mom. I was on a date with my boyfriend, and when my dad came to pick me up, he didn't have pants on. He was driving his convertible with the top down through downtown. He didn't even notice until I asked him why he picked me up from my date with his underwear. I still don't let him live it down. It was hilarious. He was just like, whoopsie daisies. My mom's really overprotective and doesn't like me watching videos with swearing in them. So I was watching one and instinctively paused it when she walked in. She asked me to play it, so I did. It was fairly clean, but then Pewds shouted F her right in the P. I got into so much trouble. When I was about 12, my mom and I went to a Target. While there, my mom spilled Pepsi on her shirt, so she bought another one. When we got to the car, she proceeded to take off her shirt and change into the new one. It wouldn't have been that bad if there wasn't a guy shaking his head on the steering wheel in the parking lot and spot in front of us. My mom was wearing an old black lace bra that left little to the imagination. One day my mom's phone rang. It was my father. She was upstairs and told me I should pick up. I said hello, like my mom always does. My father didn't know that it was me on the phone and said, "Oh honey, it's weekend." You know what that means in a sexy voice. I was disgusted and shocked at the same time. The only thing that came out of my mouth was, "Dad, it's me." It was embarrassing for him, so he got angry and screamed at me. So when I was like 8, I was pretending to be a boxer and I was punching stuff all over the house. I went to pretend to punch my mom, planning to stop about an inch or two away from her face. I didn't stop in time. All right, now it's time for my most awkward moment with my parents. It was about 9 o'clock in the evening and I was gonna come home. It was a school night. There was no reason why I would not come home at 9 o'clock. And for some reason, all the lights were off. I forgot my key, so I couldn't get inside. So I run around to all the windows and doors and they all were locked. And I'm like, why are they all locked? What the heck? By the way, this is like 4 years ago. So I keep knocking because all the cars are there, but all the lights are off. And finally I hear something and my dad opens up the door with just some jean shorts on and he's like, "What's up? Hey." Like not letting me in. And I'm like, "I live here." And he was like, "Not tonight, you don't." I was like, no! And from then on, I didn't live there anymore. Remember, today's question of the day for a future episode is, what is the most awkward thing that ever happened to you and your best friend? If you enjoyed this, remember you can watch a previous reading your comments or the next one. And I hope you subscribe because I like seeing your face around here. All right, high five.